309, the ark is taken, chapter 4. And the word of Samuel came to all Israel. Now Israel went out against the Philistines to battle and encamped by the rock of Help. And the Philistines encamped at Ephek. 2. And the Philistines put themselves in array against Israel. And when they fought, Israel was defeated before the Philistines, and there were slain on the battlefield about 4,000 men. 3. And when the people were come to camp, the elders of Israel said, Why has the Lord smitten us today before the Philistines? Let us bring the ark of the covenant of the Lord of hosts out of Shiloh to us, that it may go with us and save us from our enemies. Four. So the people went to Shiloh, and they brought from thence the ark of the covenant of the Lord of hosts, who dwells upon the cherubim, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were with the ark of the covenant of the Lord. 5. And it came to pass, when the ark of the covenant of the Lord came into camp, all Israel shouted with a great shout, so that it re-echoed. 6. And when the Philistines heard that noise, they said, What is this noise of shouting in the camp of the Hebrews? And they learnt that the ark of the Lord had come into the camp. 7. And the Philistines were afraid, for they said, God is come into the camp. And they said, Woe to us, for there has not been such a thing before. 8. Woe to us! Who shall deliver us from the hands of the mighty God? This is the God who smote the whole of Egypt with all sorts of plagues and wonders performed in the wilderness. 9. Be strong and conduct yourselves like men, O Philistines, lest you become servants to the Hebrews. As they served you, be strong and fight with them. 10. And the Philistines fought with Israel, and Israel was defeated, and they fled every man to his tent. And there was a very great slaughter in Israel, for there fell of Israel in that day 30,000 footmen. 11. And the ark of God was taken, and the sons of Eli, Hophni, and Phinehas were slain. 12. And there ran a man of Benjamin from the battle line, and came to Shiloh the same day, with his clothes rent and the earth upon his head. 13. And Eli was sitting upon a seat by the wayside watching, for his heart trembled for the ark of God. And when the man came into the city to tell of the disaster, all the city cried. 14. When Eli heard the noise of crying, he said, What is this noise of tumult? And the man came in hastily and told Eli. 15. Now Eli was 78 years old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see. 16. The man said to Eli, I am he who came from the battle line, and I fled today from the battle line. And he said to him, What is the news, my son? (3:10) The ark troubles the enemy.
SBS Chill.
17. And the messenger answered and said, Israel has fled before the Philistines, and there has been also a great slaughter among the people, and your two sons also, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God has been taken. 18. And it came to pass, when Eli thought of the ark of God, he fell from off the seat backward by the side of the gate, and his neck broke, and he died. for he was an old man and heavy, and he judged Israel 40 years. 19. And his daughter-in-law, Phinehas' wife, was with child, and was near to be delivered. And when she heard the news that the ark of God was taken, and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she bowed down and travailed, for her pains came upon her. 20. And about the time of her death, the woman that stood by her said to her, Fear not, for you have borne a son. But she neither answered nor did pay attention to it. 21. And she named the child Josheba, saying, The glory is departed from Israel, because the ark of God was taken, and because of father-in-law and because of her father-in-law and husband. 22. And she said, The glory is departed from Israel, for the ark of God is taken. When it's over, round cold. Back the wrong home. 5. Chapter 5. And the Philistines took the ark of God, and brought it from the rock of Hilp to Ashdod. 2. Then the Philistines took the ark of God, and brought it into the house of Dagon, and set it by the side of Dagon. 3. And when the inhabitants of Ashdod arose early in the next morning, they found Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord, and they took Dagon and set him in his place again. And when they arose early the next morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord, and the head of Dagon and both his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the trunk of Dagon was left. 5. Therefore neither the priests of Dagon nor any that entered Dagon's house crossed the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod to this day. 6. But the hand of the Lord was heavy upon the inhabitants of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and afflicted them with boils, both Ashdod and the territory thereof. 7. And when the men of Ashdod saw that it was so, they said, The ark of God of Israel shall not stay with us, for his hand is heavy upon us and upon Dagon our God. 8. They sent therefore and gathered all the lords of the Philistines to them, and said, What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? And they answered, Let the ark of God of Israel be returned to Gath. So they took the ark of God of Israel there. 9. And after they took it back, the hand of the Lord was against the city with a heavy great destruction, and he smote the men of the city, both small and great, and they were covered with boils. 10. Therefore they sent the ark of God to Ekron. And when the ark of God came to Ekron, the Ekronite cried out, saying, They have brought the ark of God, the God of Israel, to us, to slay us and our people. 11. So they sent and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines, and said, Send away the ark of the God of Israel, and let it be returned to its own place, that it may not slay us and our people. For the fear of death caused a panic that spread throughout all the city, and the hand of God was heavy there. 12. And the men who did not die, were smitten with boils, and the cry of the city went up to heaven. Chapter 6. And the ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. 2. And the Philistines called for the priests and the Lord, saying, What shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell us by what means shall we send it to its place? 3:11. The ark is returned. 3. And they said, If you send away the ark of the God of Israel, do not send it away empty, but you must surely bring trespass offerings to it. Then you shall be healed, and it shall be known to you why his hand is not removed from you. 4. And they said, What sort of offering shall we bring to it? And they answered, 5 golden boils and 5 golden mice, according to the number of the lords of the Philistines, for 1 plague was upon all, and upon your lords. 5. Wherefore you shall make the likenesses of your boils and images of the mice that are destroying the land, and you shall give glory to the God of Israel. Perhaps he will remove his hand from you, and from your God, and from your land. 6. And you shall not harden your hearts, as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts, and as they mocked the Israelites, and did not send them, nor let them go. 7. Now therefore make a new cart, and take 2 milch cows upon which there has come no yoke, and tie the cows to the cart, and bring their calves home from them. 8. And take the ark of the Lord, and lay it upon the cart, and put the vessels of gold, which you have brought for it as offerings, in a box by its side, and send it away, that it may go on its way. 9. And watch, for if it goes up by the way of the border which goes up to Bethshemesh, then it is the Lord that has done us this great evil. But if not, we will know that it is not his hand that has afflicted us, but it has happened to us by chance. 10. And the men did so, and took 2 milch cows, and tied them to the cart, and shut up their calves at home. 11. And they laid the ark of God upon the cart, and the box with the mice of gold, and the images of their boils. 12. And they sent out the cows by the way, which is by the border of Bethshemesh, and they went along the highway, lowing as they went, and turned not aside to the right hand nor to the left. And the lords of the Philistines went after them as far as the border of Bethshemesh. 13. And the men of the town of Bethshemesh were reaping their wheat harvest in the valley, and they lifted up their eyes and saw the ark, and rejoiced when they saw it. 14. And the cart came into the field of Joshua, a Bethshemeshite, and stopped where there was a great stone. And they split the wood of the cart, and offered the cows as burnt offerings to the Lord. 15. And the Levites took down the ark of the Lord, and the box that was in it, with which the vessels of gold, and put them in on the great stone. And the men of Bethshemesh offered burnt offerings and sacrifices on that day to the Lord. 16. And when the 5 lords of the Philistines had seen it, they returned to Ekron the same day. 17. And these are the golden boils which the Philistines have brought as offerings to God: for Ashdod 1, for Gaza 1, for Ashkelon 1, for Gath 1, for Ekron 1. 18. And the golden mice, according to the number of all the cities of the Philistines belonging to the 5 lords, both of the 5 fortified cities, and of the country villages of the Perizzites, and as far as the great stone of Ab-el, whereon they set down the ark of the Lord, which to this day is in the field of Joshua the Bethshemeshite. 19. And the Lord smote the men of Bethshemesh, because they worshipped the ark of the Lord. And the Lord smote 5,070 men of the people, and the people mourned because the Lord had smitten many of the people with a great slaughter. 20. And the men of Bethshemesh said, who is able to stand before the holy Lord God? And who shall carry up from us the ark? 21. So they sent messengers to the...
You're on SBS Chill.
To the inhabitants of Kirioth Narin, saying, the Philistines have brought back the ark of the Lord. Come down and take it up to you. 3:12. Israel serves the Lord.